Let's get salty!
Everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new video, and I have completed every single gameplay achievement from the latest expansion Titans and wanted to share my tips and tricks on how to complete them all so you can earn the maximum XP to progress along that rewards track where I'm nearing almost level like 75 already. And you want to do that, get those rewards and complete the achievements that you can with the cards that you have. And we're going to go into that. And as usual, I have compiled a Google document to go alongside with this video that has the achievement descriptions, deck codes, all sorts of stuff like that if you want to take a look at that. And this takes quite a long time to put all this together, so I'd really appreciate it if you give the video a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, share it with your friends that play Hearthstone that want to get these achievements done. But it is important to note before we get into the achievements that these these decks in particular are mostly built in Wild with no real intention of winning, just completing achievements. So be aware of that. And it's also important to note achievements are only completable in ranked ladders, so standard, wild, or twist if it's, whatever it comes back. If the cards would be eligible for twist, it should work, as well as the arena it counts, as well as the best or one of the best options for budget players, casual duels, where if you put a bunch of Titan cards in your decks, you can try and find some of these legendaries you're missing to complete these achievements, as well as heroic duels. Friendly games, tavern brawl, casual, none of that stuff works, so be aware of that if you're trying to complete these achievements. But anyways, let's get into it, starting off with the Death Knight class with It's All Runes to Me. Play 25 cards created by the Primus. It's a grind one. I just played Blood DK with survivability to try and survive till I got to my Primus, get my cards, play them, get out. Pretty hard to copy. I did have a Zola in there in case I could play another Primus, but basically never happened as people try and kill it pretty quickly. But you can go for that. You can put like Artist in there, other cards if you want to try and copy it. If it lives, you can do that, but it didn't take too long. 25 isn't too difficult of a task. We have 2 cold to hold. Make your opponent overdraw 10 cards with Frozen Over. I did like a Mill Plague Death Knight. It's a little bit easier in Wild. We have like Cold Light Oracle and some cards that can further overdraw your opponent, then play Frozen Over and overdraw them. Again, this one took no time at all. 10 is not a lot. You can do that in technically 5 spells cast, right? So you can discover them too. Be aware of that. And then the last one for Death Knight, Super Spreader. Shuffle 200 plagues into your opponent's deck. It's played like a basic plague DK. You really don't need to go too crazy to accelerate this. 200 happens pretty quickly, and every time they like reshuffle with Helia, they also count. So the Death Knight one's not too bad. Demon Hunter, we have the Knight of the Conservatory, summon and awaken a crystalline statue on the same turn. You just play it and glide. Play it and swing with your Glaive Tar. You're probably gonna get it summoned. A very easy one. Howling at the Fell Moon, force 40 enemy minions to attack Mythical Terror. I basically built a big Demon Hunter to cheat it out, and you also in Wild have Philosophy to get more copies of them, to get more stuff to get attacked in, and you have Express over Argunite, draw 120 cast when drawn spells as Demon Hunter. It's currently bugged with Jotun, the legendary, which you would think is the main reason to play it, but any other cast when draw spell, like Soul Fragments, I did Soul Fragments in Wild, just shuffled a bunch of those in, it got done really quickly. So if you still have Soul Fragment cards in Wild, that's the best way to go until hopefully they actually fix the Jotun interaction. This one has been bugged pretty much its entire run. Druid, we have All Grown Ups, transform 6 treants into ancients with a single Ancient of Growth. I did like a big ramp Druid where I just had a bunch of token generators for treants and just play them all because I have Guff and can get a lot of mana. You can do other strategies of like, you just have it cast both things at once, and then you'll have 3 other treants out there. It's not too difficult. There's multiple ways of going about it. We have the sincerest form of flattery, copy 40 cards with Freya. I just did like a big Freya Fizzle Druid where I could kind of go infinite, copy my Freya with Fizzle, snapshot it, do all sorts of shenanigans, but overall it doesn't take that long. You just gotta survive to play Freya, but there are ways of getting more of them, so I went for that. And then we have the Garden of Life, play 100 spells that blossom from seedlings. You gotta wait for either the 1 mana or 3 mana spell to blossom. play them. Again, I copied them up with like my Fizzle, my Freyas, and all of that. Helped out a little bit. It's definitely a more annoying, grindy one of the bunch. For Hunter, we have Odir Hodir. Speaking of grindy, this one was absolutely awful. Play 50 minions that cost 2 or less that were blessed by Hodir, Father of Giants. So I played it in like a Beast Druid where I could bounce it with Youthful Brewmaster, which does count. The Brewmaster, it was pretty rare that I got to play him more than once. It was pretty rare to survive to him, but you know, you play your 1 mana 4/1 spawn from your spell there, or just cheap minions, it can help. But yeah, that one sucks. And if you want to win, you can play some Stone Tusk Boars and charge, right? If you want to go for that. We have Tall Tales, trigger a single observer of myths effects 5 times. I had like Hermit Crab and cheap minions to try and make it work. This one looked like it was gonna be awful. It took me 1 game. I got really lucky. I even had like the coin guys in there to try and give me some extra mana to cheat it out pretty quickly. But basically, you have to like 5 minions with up to 5 attack. It's not fun, but it is certainly doable. We have always deal 120 damage to the enemy hero with always a bigger Drumonger. You can throw it on anything. Obviously, Hollow Hound is a great target. Put it onto there. It's just a progressive one that goes pretty quickly. It stacks pretty fast, especially if you can buff up your beasts. Even with the location, you put that out there, it can be quite nice. For May, we have Off the Chain. Draw 50 cards with Unchained Gladiator. Just play Elemental Mage, play a bunch of Elementals, and just spam it. Like, I almost had this one done by drafting this card in Arena. 50 does not take too long, considering the card draws 1 no matter what initially. The Reading Rainbow, summon 7 vortexes with 1 elemental inspiration. Play Rainbow Mage. Get to that 7, play it. The board does not need to be empty. It'll still count. And it's a really good deck in like standard wild. I probably listed a bad wild version. You can play the good standard version and have success. It's a really good one to get done. This is my final form. You've used 3 of Nargadon's abilities at max power. I did this in 1 game playing Quest Mage because I just infinitely copied it with Potion of Illusion, and thankfully my rank is very low in WoW right now, so my bot opponents rarely concede. It does not need to be done in 1 game. It can be done over time. You have reverberations and all of that too in standard. You don't need to go Quest Mage if you want, but it was pretty spectacular and pretty funny to do it in 1 game. Paladin, we have not just a boulder, summon a 14 attack Earthen Golem. This one will take some time, but you'll get it done. It's not too bad. You just gotta find that right matchup where you can actually play your Earthens and not blow up. It scales pretty quickly, especially when you bring them back. And speaking of that, Legends Never Die. Resurrect 3 legendary minions with a single Tears Battlecry. Wild is a lot easier to do this if you have a good collection of legendaries and wild, because there's more 4, 3, and 2 attack minions out there. This is like the most pay to win like achievement out there, where you have to res legendaries, and it's just really annoying. And also, if you revive the Leviathan but you revive the 4/2 part, that doesn't count, so be aware of that. If it doesn't work, that part can be resed and it doesn't count. But overall, yeah, it's like, do you have the legendaries? Can you bring it back? Really not a big fan of that achievement. Why not 22? Return 60 mechs to your hand with X21 Repair Bot. Let's play Mech Paladin. Just do it a bunch, get it back. It's really not that hard, especially Wild, where you could cheat out a bunch of magnetics for dirt cheap with Mech Warper and Galvanizer. For Priest, we have Mercury in Retrograde. Playing 7 attack Astral Automaton. Really not hard in like any of the robot priests, as I like to call it. Just bring automatons back over and over. Does not take long. You got to play, what, 6 of them? Because they get +1/+1 each time, or 7 of them, I guess. Really not too difficult. Stars can't do it. Transform 50 minions in your hand with the stars align. I just played a bunch of minions that generated a bunch of minions and played tutors for my spell. This one's really quick, but you're probably not going to win any games playing with it, but you can easily get it done pretty fast. And we have High Father Problems. Play 60 legendary minions created by Amanthul. So I just put Big Priest with Amanthul, and this one went really quick, and I won a lot because it's Big Priest and infinitely removing and getting taunts. It's actually not that bad, and it went by pretty darn quick. For Rogue, we have Maximum Overdrive. Play Gear Shift with no other cards in your hand. I just played like a really, really low mana curve cute deck and did it my first game on turn 1. You could play it in like real decks if you want, but I gotta go for the cuteness, the cute Rogue. Gadgets and Gizmos aplenty. Play all 6 of Mimron's gadgets. Play Mech Rogue. You'll get it done over time. It does not need to be done in 1 game. Oil Spill, deal 200 extra damage to minions with the effect of Tar Slick. Had it like a multitask deck where I'm doing a bunch of stuff, but be aware, use these stack. You could play 3 of them, right, with your copy card that copies a spell you've already played, and it amplifies it really fast. If you like triple them up and play like a Fan or a Bone Spike, you could get it done in just like really short order. So be aware, it does stack. For Shaman, you've been play a 0-cost Crash of Thunder, play Overload Shaman. It's not very hard to do. If they be worthy, destroy the enemy hero with the Tempest Hammer. I just threw it into Over Shaman and just killed my opponent when I was like comboing. I just put it as like the end thing, but it has been noted by people. I have not confirmed it, but apparently if you attack in and kill a minion with the attack, it apparently is bugged and will work on killing a minion. I can't confirm it, but I've heard that, so you could try it. But again, not saying 100% it'll work, and they might fix that bug. You never know. Azeroth's Mightiest Hero, draw 100 cards with Thorum Stormwind. Again, Overload, and especially Wild, we have Lightning Bloom, which overloads you for 2, and Beaker Lightning, which overloads you for 2, both for 0 mana. You can rip through your deck. I literally have fatigued myself on turn 4 with this card. It doesn't take too much time, at least in Wild. For Warlock, we have Fee 5 Faux Fum, summon a giant with 12 or more attack from Forge of Wills. I just did like use the new big Warlock thing, the new legendary that summons a taunt equal to the size of the minion drew. I only played, I believe, the Darkness and the Fanatum. You could also put the free Deathwing from the core set in there. That'll work too. So you don't need to craft any of these big legendaries if you want, but the 6-drop will help you get there, and you just need the location on the board while you play it. And it took surprisingly long to survive to do that. Package deal 4, destroy 4 minions with 1 mortal eradication. I did a Wild against Pirates, but if you want to play like the Mad Summoner card, give your opponent targets. You can play Mad Summoner, mortal eradication. It'll probably do the trick, but it really isn't as difficult as it looks if you're facing an aggro deck. Nether going to give you up. Summon 120 minions created by Sargeras' portal to the Twisting Nether. Let's play like, yeah, those big Warlock strategies. I played like Reno Warlock, where you could tutor it out with your Symphony of Sin spell and get it for cheap. Really fun deck, not bad deck, and it doesn't take too long to get going. If you want to amplify it, you can always pick the 6/6s to summon right away, because those count, right? Next, we have Warrior from the Armory. Gain 20 armor with a single Minotauran. Let's play like a hand buff thing where I just buffed it up, hit in, smelted it up, right? Like that worked out pretty well. Trustfall, give +200/+200 to Valkyrie with Test of Loyalty. Did this while I was doing Khaz'Groth, one we'll talk about in a second, that took forever, but basically just play the spell a lot. It'll happen. They all buff each other, so it really doesn't take too long. Divine Intervention, attack and destroy 100 enemy minions with Khaz'Groth. This one took a very long time, but you can copy it with like the copy artist or whatever it's called and duplicate it and try and keep killing minions that way. Put in a Mad Summoner in there to give more minions to attack into. Brutally long one. 100 minions sucks, and cards like Provoke, which make your opponent's minions attack into it, don't count. It needs to attack them, so be aware of that. And then for the neutrals, we have How Did That Get In There? Draw 75 cards with Sharp-Eyed Seeker. I just played like I shuffled in the spiders and the bears with Rogue, and then played Sharp-Eyed Seeker and Shadow Step, then play it again. It went by pretty quickly. I lost almost every game. We have Hammer Time, Forge 200 cards. You're going to get this over time. There's the whole Forge Giant deck if you want to spam that, but 200, you're going to get this over the expansion period. No specific recommendation. Same going for Meet Your Makers, which is use 160 Titan abilities. You can speed it up, I guess, with the Big Priest with Amenthal, but I had it done before I was done all my achievements with the Titans. You're going to play Titans. They're good cards, and you'll get it done over time. We have the Uldular Holiday Light Show. Play all 8 unique Spark Bots. Play Mech Rogue a bunch. You'll get them pretty quickly. It's the best thing to get it. You have the 2-mana spell that gives you a bunch of Spark Bots. We have the Unstable Connection. Play 30 temporary minions from Celestial Projectionist. Just did it in like a cute bounce rogue. Very cheap minions. Just bounce them over and over. Play them for 0 mana. Pretty easy. You're not going to win, but it's very easy if you want to speed it up that way. Judgment Day, destroy 60 targeted minions with the Prison of Yogg-Saron. Probably the worst achievement of the entire Titan set, as you have to target the minion. You need this location, the 7-mana legendary, 1 of location, to actually kill it, which doesn't happen that often, and it's 60 times. So I played it with like Moonlit Guidance and Freya and all these ways to stay alive in Druid and try and actually play multiple of them, target my own minions when necessary, because it counts your own minions. And yeah, this one sucks. It takes forever, but it is doable. I just don't recommend doing it unless you're a completionist like me. And the Giant Shall Answer, summoned 60 Frost Giants from Soda Fjordir. Same big Druid, did it all at the same time. These took forever. These took a long time, but it worked out pretty well because I'm playing Druid, can draw a bunch of cards and can help out. And I also had, you know, the Sharp-Eyed Seeker in there as well to speed that one up. We have Out of Time, play 30 dragons created by Time Lost Proto Drake. I threw this in a bunch of decks, but the Multitask Rogue is probably the one I finished off with, so you could do it there. The Druid one was pretty good because, again, I could survive and get the mana because a lot of the dragons are pretty expensive. You typically do need a fair amount of mana to play those cards. Staves and swords and bows, oh my. Discover a weapon from 11 classes with Rune-Fueled Golem. Again, did it like a Multitask Rogue where I could Shadow Step, play it a bunch of times. Just be aware, try and pick the ones from non-traditional weapon classes. So the mages, the priests, the warlocks, the druids, pick those weapons first. They come by very rarely, where I believe warlock took me a really long time to find. We have Ribbits and Ribbites, have Mecha Leaper's Death Rattle trigger 10 times in one game. It must trigger and go on to another minion. It's not enough just for the minion to die, which is really annoying. I did it in Death Rattle Rogue where you have the location or the objective spell that doubles up your Death Rattles. You have the Death Rattle proccing weapon. It still took a while, but it did get done. And be aware, the achievement will not activate, will not come up until the game has been completed. I thought it was bugged. I thought it was robbed, and then it popped up and I wasn't so angry. We have the first totem, attack 25 times with Ancient Totem. Play even Shaman and then buff it up and attack with it. And you could copy it with your weapon. You could go for a more totem-based deck as well with Totemic Reflection, but even Shaman got it done really quickly for me. And Melt with you, play 5 zero-cost Storm Giants in one game. Play Giant Priest, took one game. The deck, once it pops off, is actually pretty hilarious. You can play way more than 5 of them and works pretty well. And again, if you want to speed up your Forge achievement, this is the way, this is the deck to do it with. And lastly, but this one is mine, destroy the enemy hero with a custom weapon made from Ignis, the Eternal Flame. I just did it in the big Druid deck I was playing. Whatever deck you want, typically a deck that has, you know, attack buffers, maybe a Demon Hunter, Druid, classes like that, Shaman with like Rock Biter and cards like that that can help you out. But be aware, the Battle Cry, there's Battle Cry damage on the weapon. If you kill your opponent with that Battle Cry damage, it won't count. It must be the actual attack from the weapon. Anyways, that's my tips. Let me know in the comments below if you have any other suggestions to help people out. And hopefully you guys have a good time achievement hunting. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day and stay salty, my friends.